And that's what limits people from having an open mindset to actually creating new habits that actually makes them better or makes them just a little bit more better than they were the previous day. And get it improving on a daily basis. So I would say that when it comes to creating habits, it has to be like you said, you have to show up on a daily basis. Show up for yourself. Wake up, make sure that you are working like every day on a daily.
How can you maintain what you have started? And if I may just give a short basic description of where we are coming from here, I would say that okay, if we are going to set goals or habits, this means that we cannot neglect 2020. We cannot neglect what has happened previously. Because we tend to underlook 2020 and we overlook 2021 and say, I'm going to be this person, but we do not want to consider who we were before. We need to consider both, and this is a game of separation. This is a game of separating yourself from your former self to become this new self that you want to become. It's a game of divorce. We need to divorce our former selves so that we can become this new person who is capable of achieving that we want to do. And this can be done by basically asking yourself, what can I do differently? What are the things that I used to do as my former self that I no longer want to do because they are not going to serve me? What are the things that I need to leave behind 2020? They don't need to step into 2021 because they are not going to serve me in any way possible. What do I need to stop doing and what do I need to start doing? That's what we'll be covering throughout our topic or session, right? So I'm just going to hand over to my co-host, Hawala Majomani, to take over.
Thank you very much. Well, as he already mentioned that on this episode, we are going to be talking about how to bridge the gap between setting your goals and actually getting yourself to achieving those goals. What we have noticed is that when the year starts, everybody is so pumped up, we are so ready for the year, and we like, I'm this new person, new me. But what we don't realize is that it's just a different calendar, but then you're still the same person. So you must realize, like what he said, that what happened on the previous year, we shouldn't disregard 2020, but then we should be able to separate who we were from at 2020 and how we would like to be in this new year of 2021. So for me, when I think about goal setting, I think, first of all, your goal is something that you actually aim for. And what I've realized is that a lot of individuals are very much discouraged by what happened on the previous year. I mean, like, we're facing a pandemic and it is something that everyone is going through. So as much as it is a tough thing, and we have realized that we didn't get to achieve all our goals, but then we shouldn't be discouraged by what happens, because this is just another challenge. In fact, it is meant for us to grow and develop and evolve into our new selves. So a goal, for me, I would say that, first of all, if you're going to set a goal, it is very much important for you to be able to identify that it is what you dream, what you're hoping for. But then you can't just dream and hope for something without actually putting in the work. So what I mean is that when you set your goals, it is your first step into turning turning your dreams, should I rather say, or what is invisible to you, and turning it into something tangible, into something that you can see, something that you can aim for, something that you can aspire to. So if you don't set any goals for yourself, then you can't really measure yourself. You can't actually compare who you were back in 2020 to who you want to become in 2021. So it is very imperative for you to set goals for yourself so that you are able to measure. And goals is something that actually gives you a focus. It gives you a sense of drive. Like, it gives you a sense of direction so that you know what you're aiming for, you know what you have, and you know where you come from. That's just you doing the overall introspection.
Yeah, okay. I agree with you 100% because you are speaking about direction. But direction is very important because, okay, as people, mainly we need to have a vision or a future, or rather a direction, right?
Yeah.
And then through that direction, we are led through it now and then. But firstly, a future or a vision can be something that you wish to achieve 15 or 10 years to come.
Yeah.
What we need to do now is for us to enable us to be able to move in that path. We need to break it down. What are your yearly goals, right? Then
Yeah.
what are your what semester goals, trimester goals, and then back to what are my monthly goals, weekly. The most important one is what are our daily goals, right? Because it's for us to get where we are going. Everything depends on what we do on a daily basis. It's a game of routines. What we do today determines our future. If you want to know where your future is, the secret of your future is it's hidden in your daily routines and daily habits. So if today all I'm doing is still in the same alignment to where I'm going, then I'm on the right path, because your future, that vision of yours, it's not connected to what you wish you should say or what you wish to have, but it's directly connected to what you do. The things that you do, they are in alignment to what you get. What you get is exactly what you achieve today. What you want tomorrow, you do today.
You have to start doing
Yeah,
it
because
today.
tomorrow is the
Yeah.
results. You cannot adjust the results. You cannot do anything about the results.
It's like
It's just what you get.
sometimes we seek quick gratification, like
Yeah.
we want instant results, and we don't realize that if you're going to set your goals, it's something that you work on a daily basis. It's not something that's just going to happen on an instant.
Yeah.
Like boom, now you are just this person who's so disciplined. Boom, you're this person who's so consistent, who's exercising on a daily basis, who's studying on time, who's submitting assignments on time.
Yeah.
It's something that you do on a daily basis. It's like those 1% improvements
Yeah.
on a daily basis.
Yeah, because that's the thing with instant,
Yeah.
instant gratification. We want everything now. We want everything to happen now. But when have we worked for those things? It's
Yeah.
the process that matters. We need to work for those things, because how many times do we do this thing of saying I want 1, 2, 3, but when you look into my action, I'm doing something different from where I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm going left, but my actions are going right.
Exactly.
I will get left. Unfortunately, I won't get right, because it's all comes back to
when you
agility.
speak about this, it actually reminds me of, I always speak about when the year starts, a lot of people are so pumped up, we're setting our goals, we're like, I'm this new person, I'm changing my past, but then we actually end up not even having a plan of action on how we're going to do that. Everyone just wants to change. We want everything to happen instantly. Now you're this good person, and you set all of those goals. And it doesn't mean that when you set these goals, you don't set them with intention. Yes, your intentions are good. You want to change your life. You want to turn your life around. But then now the problem becomes that after setting your goals, what do? You forget about them.
Yeah.
Then you do something totally different on a daily basis, but then you don't do something that actually leads you to your goals. Some of them even set goals, and then you find yourself not even practicing what you have written, but rather putting it away and
Yeah.
continuing with your life and hoping to achieve something that you don't see on a daily basis.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing about our goals, right? That okay, let me speak in terms of application. That if you want to be financially stable, financially free, you don't do that by wishing to be rich or being.
Yeah.
You do that by working, by putting those habits down. You do that by practicing financial education. You don't become fit by wishing to become fit or wishing to become healthy. You do that by going to the gym. You do not get a diploma, a degree by wishing to get it, but you do that by creating habits of studying and doing all those things. Your actions has to be directly connected to your goals. It's the action, it's the implementation that is going to get you to where you say you want to be.
Yeah, that's so true, because I'm also thinking when we look at, because you find as much as we might sit down and speak about how it is important for a person to set their goals, but then as an individual you have to sit down and ask yourself where your life is actually headed.
Yeah.
Because if you don't see yourself going anywhere in the future, as much as we might tell you to set your goals, you won't feel it deep down inside of you to actually sit down and write down what you wish to achieve.
Yeah.
But then all I'm going to say is that most of the time it happens because we are discouraged. From what I've seen is that the pandemic really affected people like on a large scale, and a lot of people feel discouraged. They're like, why should I plan for something when we don't know what's going to happen? I mean, like, now we're on the second wave, a third wave is being estimated, around June. So you already feel like the whole year is already up. But then what you don't realize is that maybe this is sending you in a direction where you're supposed to you're supposed to go. Instead of you fussing about you not being able to do the things that you're supposed to do, but rather focus on what you can do at this present moment. When you set your goals, look at what you can achieve now. If something requires human contact, obviously you can't do it due to the restrictions or the regulations, but then rather look into something that you can achieve with the amount of freedom of movement that you have at this moment under maybe this lockdown level 3, or look at what you can achieve now with what we have, maybe through the media, or but like look for something that you can do at this present moment. It's not about, and it's not about you closing down 2020 goals like you said. You should also add on to them, like add some of the things that you would like to achieve. It shouldn't mean that you should now put your life on hold just because you can't do human contact, and what you want to achieve requires you to be in contact with people. Maybe you need to be in theater or something like that, but then rather focus on what you can do at this present moment so that it can keep you motivated and going, but then don't forget your previous goals that actually requires you to go in contact.
Yeah, I support you there, because now what we do is a lot of people are just holding themselves back and say, okay, it's the pandemic, or there's nothing much I can do. Instead of, are you going to sit there and complain and make excuses, or are you gonna find a way on how can you adapt and adjust? It's the adaptability that is going to get us through. Getting things done at a pace that the situation that has come in front of us, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So we just need to find a way the education system has introduced so many things, learning through Skype and other things, and there's so many things that are also positive about the pandemic, as much as there's a lot of things, digital learning would never have been implemented
if it wasn't for that.
We were pushed. Now that we need to adjust, we need to get going. We cannot wait for the pandemic to be over end, because we do not know when it's going to end, right? We cannot wait for perfection. We cannot wait for tragedy to stop and end so that we can start living our own lives. We should proceed.
To start now.
Yeah, it's to start now with the situation that we have, with what you have, with the technology that is available, and you can move forward little by little. We will get there, because I think we need to be proactive, not reactive, right? So we just need to get going and be preparing ourselves for more, so that whenever the pandemic goes to an end, we know that we are somewhere. You don't need to start from the beginning. We've pushed, then you can just adjust back to the reality or normal and push forward. So I think this is how we can try to look at this view.
I think we've covered most of the points regarding the importance of goal setting, and then we can check the comments if there's any, and then we can move to creating good habits.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I don't think we've got any. Okay, I don't think we've got any comments. I think we may proceed to the habits.
Okay. Okay, so since there isn't any comments, well, I managed to gather the comments through the questionnaire.
Okay. Okay.
For what I've learned when I was doing the questionnaires, there is a lady by the name of Intabi. So she commented that for her, like when she starts saying, you do everything on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So she was like, she likes doing everything with intention. So from the morning, what she does, like she makes sure before I do this, I do that. So I thought that was actually really powerful for her to actually be intentional about what she does in the morning. And she was like, when I asked her like what change she wished to see in this year, because remember the pandemic was something that was challenging us. So she said that I just want to see change in me, my actions, my thoughts, and everything.
Yeah.
I want this year to be about me and my growth. So this is just, I thought this comment was so profound, because this just shows you it's not about you achieving only academic and financial success, but then it's also working on yourself. So you can also have goals whereby you work on yourself as an individual rather than wanting to achieve something financially, or it's like when you set goals, it shouldn't just be based on one thing. Basically, that's the point that I was trying to make.
Okay, I think it's a good way to go about it, because you can see she's considering last year, she's considering 2020, where she's coming from, that now I want to Now I want to be here based on yesterday, based on 20. Now this is what I
Yeah.
want. And also the fact that she's considering, like you said, it's not about what you want to achieve, but who
You
as
want to-
well you
yeah.
want to be with. Because I think that's the thing about success. We think that success is all those big things that we want to achieve. But
Yeah.
what's the point of achieving all those things and at the end of the day you are not happy, you're not fulfilled,
Yeah.
So if you can focus in your inner self and look for that inner fulfillment, because what we do most of the time is we look for external fulfillment and then
Yeah.
we get it, but then there's no
It doesn't
interaction with
really,
our
yeah.
inner fulfillment, because the biggest one is the inner fulfillment, and our hearts are always crying for the inner fulfillment, but
Yeah.
we respond, we do that by avoiding it and looking at all these external
External
things that we want
factors,
to
yeah.
achieve, where else inside you are dying. So I think it's a very good point of where he's coming from, because success, basically, the things that he even wants,
Yeah.
if he can focus inwardly, if she can focus on building herself from
Then
within,
automatically she'll attract.
she will
and
attract, because
yeah.
success is what we get, it's what we attract by becoming the person that we are, by who
Yeah.
we become,
Yeah.
How can I create the kind of a person who's capable of attracting what I want to do? Because you
Yeah.
are the person who's going to go for those things. So create an individual, a person who's capable. Ask yourself, what kind of a person do I want to be? Who can be capable of creating those things and achieving them? So I think it's a good point.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And
Yeah.
also having a good sense of why.
Mhm.
Like tying what I was saying is that most of the time, like I would like mentioning that when I set goals most of the time, like I ask myself, because you find a person setting goals, saying to themselves, I want to achieve this, but not realizing what they're setting somebody else's goals.
Yeah.
It's like it's not what they want to achieve, but it's what another person wants to achieve. And which brings us to the very important fact that I heard from Jay Shetty, which he quoted also, and he said that I am not what you think I am. I am not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am.
Yeah.
So most of the time we set our goals based on what we think other people think of us. And then we end up setting goals that don't reflect us. So when it comes to setting goals, it would be very important for you to be rooted, having a good sense of why you want to achieve that particular thing. And from the why, then you move to the how. How are you planning to achieve it? The what, the actions that you're going to put in place. Those are the daily routines that you're going to build up to actually getting you to being that person.
Yeah. Okay, I agree with that.
Oh, yeah. Then
Okay.
we can move.
Yeah, if we've observed the questions, then we can move. Habits, right?
Creating good habits.
Creating habits. So, okay, let me define what is a habit. I think we all know what is a habit, but I'm just going to define it again.
Yeah.
A habit is anything that you do and you repeat it over and over.
Yeah.
Any action that you do and repeat it over and over, it becomes a habit. It will just happen by its own. We've got good and bad habits. All these good and bad habits were accumulated through our actions. We did this thing over and over, and then it became a habit. But the key right now here is to find a way that how can I create habits that will help me to achieve the things that I want. Because if you've got a goal which needs you to show up to it every day, you need to create that habit, that action that will show up to that habit, so that you can do that with less energy, with less intention, with less convincing yourself. That's what a habit does. I mean, you don't wake up in the morning and convince yourself to go and brush your teeth. It's a habit. You don't apply. It happens automatically. You don't wear the shoes and convince yourself to tie up your shoelaces. It's a habit. You have done it over and over.
Again, it's actually second.
The key here is to look at your goals and create habits that will enable you to go for those habits, so that this can be easy for you, right? Okay, let's talk about finance. Everyone wants to get rich, so I'll just give an example about finance. If you want to be wealthy, if you want to be financially stable, you need to create habits of the kind of a person who goals for those things, right? So you need to create habits of saving money,
You can't live a
investing
poor
money.
life while wanting to be
No,
rich.
they've got
Like
to be in
having
the
a
same
poor
alignment.
mindset,
Yeah,
basically,
they've
yeah.
got to all be in the same alignment. So this means you need to create all those things. If you want to be fit, if you want to be healthy, if you want to be safe, you need to create habits of going to the gym every day, or even now and then, or according to your schedule, or consistently rather. You know, if you want to get a diploma, habits of studying,
And habits goes with consistency and discipline.
exactly, they are hand in hand, So it's about that's all about habits, creating habits that will allow you to achieve all that you want to do, because it's success. It's not a one-time event, one big-time event. It's 1% better. It's getting better every day.
Every day.
It's showing up every day, now and then.
I can't speak, I can't do that. I can't, like, we have all of these limiting thoughts because now we live under the notion that I am who I am.
Yeah.
And that's what limits people from having an open mindset to actually creating new habits that actually makes them better, or makes them just a little bit more better than they were the previous day. And it's improving on a daily basis. So I would say that when it comes to creating habits, it has to be like you said, you have to show up on a daily basis. Show up for yourself. Wake up, make sure that you are working like every day on a daily basis, and you are adding the effort to do something. And once you start doing that on a daily basis, then it becomes a habit to you. Like, it's how you, for example, you said that you wake up, you brush your teeth.
Yeah.
How many times did you actually have to brush your teeth in order for you to remember that
Yeah.
brushing your teeth? You see, you did it on a daily basis that right now you don't even have to think about it. You just know that it's something that you do.
Yeah.
So the same way you should actually apply to when you create a new habits in the beginning of the year. Let's say you want to go to gym. Then how do you do that? And I wanted to mention the one about habit stacking.
Yeah.
For me, habit stacking has worked wonders. Where habit stacking works in a way where you actually put in new habits on old habits. So in a way, like, they follow each other.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I know every morning I wake up and I brush my teeth.
Yeah.
Let's say in the morning I want to maybe read a book. Then what I do is that I tell myself, after brushing my teeth, I pick a book up.
Yeah.
So it follows something. I know I'm never going to skip brushing my teeth.
Yeah.
So always read a book in the morning.
Yeah.
So it kind of like, it follows. So what you do is that you take your old habits, you mix it with your new habits.
Yeah.
So you keep on putting them like that. If you know that before you sleep, you pray. Let's say you want to start doing affirmations. Then you tell yourself immediately after praying, I do my affirmations.
Yeah.
You know you're never going to skip praying. Therefore, like, you're stacking an old habit onto a new one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I like habit stacking, because what practically we are doing here is that we are teaching our body that as soon as you see me doing this, expect this to follow.
Yeah.
As soon as you see me waking up in the morning, expect to brush your teeth. As soon as, so when you do we are intelligent human beings. We learn as we do. The things that we do, we become. So if this is if I'm going to intentionally take the habit that I'm struggling with, and put it after, right? Is it after, before, after?
After,
right?
yeah.
After, and then take the one that I'm used to and put it before. And I know that as soon as I'm done with this one, my body will create to do the other one. So habits.
Yeah, it's like also what you said about setting out an environment.
Yeah.
That you make it available, easily available
Yeah,
to you.
yeah.
If I want to start a habit of reading a book on a daily basis,
Yeah.
the book should be available to me.
Yeah.
I can't put the book under the bed and then expect myself to read it. Where do I see it?
No.
You see. So if I put the book, even if you want to stack, maybe again, the book after brushing your teeth, rather put the book in the bathroom. I mean, when you brush your teeth, you see the book there. It's easily available, so you know immediately after.
Yeah, because what happens there, it's that so it's called how to make your habits easy.
Easily accessible.
Yeah, how to make your habits easy. So there are two categories: how to make them easy, and how to make the ones that you don't want difficult. Because
the good and the bad habits.
We are breaking, right? So
Yeah.
breaking, rhyme out. So the way to make them easy for you is to make them visible, accessible, easy to access. So when something is in front of you, you are more likely to just go after it. You are teaching your mind how to crave for that. You are teaching your mind how to queue and go for what is in front of you. So when you put these things in front of you, you are likely to achieve them. When you open a fridge, most of the time you just open a fridge, you don't even know what you want. But when you open it, there's an apple here. There's a chocolate chip. You just take it. No. So that's what practically we are doing. We are putting the things, the habits that we want to create in front of you. If you want to go to the gym, if you want to create habits of going to the gym, this means when you sleep, put your gymming attire in front of you, so that when you wake up, you see.
That's the first thing you see.
Yeah,
That's what I did.
That's
like
nice.
every time, like I know that I usually gym after hours, like late in the evening. So what I do is that when I go and attend class, so what I used to do is that in the morning I put my gym attire on the bed. Then when I come back from class,
You'll
the
see
first thing I see.
Yeah, so it
I know
triggers
that,
you.
get dressed. And before I can even think about it, I convince myself to get dressed. Because once you're dressed, you're out the door.
It's the first step.
Yeah.
And also to how to break the old habits, the habits that you don't want, or the bad habits rather. This means it's an opposite on how you make the habits that you want. This means you need to make them difficult for you to access them. So you need to hide them. They are not supposed to be in front of you.
When you know that maybe you want to stop doing something that you don't like doing, maybe you chew too much gum. Example, it's just an example. And then you must make sure that gum is not easily accessible. You can't put it on the table and expect yourself to resist it. But then if it's difficult for you to access, then
it won't work, because it goes back to buying grocery. If you've got a specific diet, if you want to cut out sugar, don't buy sugar, don't bring it. You don't have to see it. You don't have to trigger your mind to see that thing, because that's going to be a problem.
Because
so
first you trigger, then you start craving it.
Then it's in front of you. So but if I crave it and if it's not there, there's nothing I can do. So don't buy it. Fix your environment. Your environment shouldn't have those things that are forming your bad habits. And also, like for example, TV. If you've got a problem with watching TV, check that TV. Once you're done, unplug it, put it in your box, put it somewhere in your wardrobe. Make it to be difficult for you to access it, because human beings by default we are wired to take the shortest path.
And sorry to interrupt you. I was just thinking about the neurotransmitter dopamine, the hormone, the feel-good hormone. They call it the feel-good hormone. So when you put the TV away, it just made me laugh and think about it, because most of the time, if you check our lives, we're controlled by this dopamine. So dopamine is the feel-good hormone. Like you actually, by seeing something, you think about how good it would feel for you to actually receive that. So in that way, you actually are more excited by the thought than the action itself. So you, like example, you have a phone next to you, and then the notification goes on. Because you're used to using social media, and you think about, you start craving it basically. So once you start responding, then you realize that you're more excited about receiving the message than reading the message itself. Because after checking your phone, you realize it's not even anything interesting.
Just what they took.
Exactly. Once it says that notification, then dopamine goes up, and then you quickly rush to your phone, and then you realize it's not even that exciting. You see, so most of the time, if people want to stay away from things that they don't want to do, from myself, I was so addicted to TikTok. TikTok, So I got to a point where I went on a dopamine detox. So I actually went for 3 days. It wasn't even a week. When I came back, it wasn't even as exciting. You get what I'm saying? So what I did is that I just switched off my notifications. I switched off, from switching off my notification, I made sure that I don't have data. Then my data was depleted. I made sure I didn't buy data. Everything was just difficult. So after that, I made it a priority for me to take walks, take jogs, just forget about social media. And then after that, after doing that for 3 days, then I realized when I came back, even if I heard the notification, it didn't excite me as much as it used to. So sometimes it's good for you to actually go on a dopamine detox on habits that you don't want to keep. And then if you want to build new habits, you can actually use this dopamine to your advantage. I use dopamine. People think I enjoy studying because I'm weird, but then I started enjoying studying because I created that in my head. So what I did is that I did they call it temptation bundling.
A bit
When
bouncing,
bundling, when you take something that you don't like and you stack it with something that you like, and then you start actually enjoying it. So
Yeah.
what I used to do is that I used to go to the library and then I study. So what I did is that with dopamine, I started smelling the environment. I loved reading books, but then I didn't like studying. So because I started smelling the smell of books, then I created that good feeling around it, like that sense of warmth. Then from there, thinking about it, then I started playing music when I study. I like music. So it's like I kind of stacked. So every time I thought about studying, I thought about listening to good music in a place where it smells books. Because I like books.
Yeah.
I just don't like studying. So when I did that, it actually worked for me. I just liked studying. I would wake up and go to the library, 5 o'clock, even if I cross-nighted. I did that because I thought of the good feeling that it creates, like listening to music well with the smell of books around me.
Yeah.
Then I just continued studying.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's called habit bundling for a reason, because you are bundling things, right? You are putting
Something
yeah,
you don't like.
a habit that you don't like to a habit that you like. You know, something that you're already used to something that you're not used to. So you put them together. What happens is that you are making the interest of what you like, it will overlap on this one. So you will enjoy it to do. You know, washing dishes. You don't enjoy washing dishes, but because you love music, you will play music washing dishes. You will play music cooking. You know, so you are taking what you don't love, putting it with what you don't love. Then you put them together to form something. There's a really good example that James Clear once made about this. It's about a student from Harvard. What he did is that he wanted to get used to pedaling, create a bit of pedaling, or pedaling basically, more like a bicycle. So he designed a bicycle of his own, you know. So he has placed a screen of Netflix, the bicycle that he just put at home, you know, and pedal from.
Oh, I remember the story.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
the screen
He put the screen of that Netflix. He loves watching Netflix, but he doesn't like pedaling, so he made them to be connected to each other.
Yeah.
If I pedal, the Netflix will go through.
If I stop, Netflix goes off.
Yeah, so it's bundling.
That was
you know.
a good one.
Yeah, and then he eventually loved pedaling, because that's what happens in the process. You are doing that thing more over and over, and then the joy or the interest, the feelings or the emotions of the one that you love to overlaps. Eventually, you will even love this one, and this can also work with going to work. I don't know how far you've read. Are you done Think Like a Monk?
Well, December happened, yes, and it was hard for me to read. Well, I did read it. I am halfway through. I'm expecting to finish probably by next week.
Okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
I want you to give a certain example. I thought you read, but it's fine. It's fine. We can leave it out. Yeah.
No, we can talk about it when I get to it. Then I'll just.
Okay. He spoke about you can also apply this through going to work. So if you've got a passion that if you've got a certain passion and interest and you don't love your job, or you've got a side hustle or something, you can take that thing to your work and you can put them together. So, for example, you're a chef, you can cook something, you can bake something for them to give you the money. So you are bringing your passion, what you love, to the work that you don't love. When they coexist, you are eventually going to love it, you know.
Yeah.
What he did actually, he did that. So he went to be a monk for 3 years. Then when he came back, he found a corporate job, 8 to 5. So he was a master. He's a master in meditation. No, he went to that job, and then later on, he decided to find a way on how can I teach these people meditation. Because meditation is important. He's going to teach those people how to meditate so that they can show up differently in their work. They can be more productive. They can be more effective. So he started teaching that. Then he eventually loved that job. So it's still a way of putting those things together. Then eventually going to love what you're doing.
You know which one was the powerful concept where he spoke about how the happiest man on earth, when they did the tests on him and they found a high frequency of gamma rays.
Yeah.
So basically he's the happiest and he's a monk.
Yeah.
And if you look at the concept, it's a contradiction of what society imagines to
happiness,
be success, happiness, and all of that.
Yeah. Powerful, because that's the kind of success I think we are taught. You know, that it's a one-way street.
Materialistic
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Basically.
You need to have a lot of money. We need to have
Instagram posts,
cars, cars.
cars.
And I think it's a trick. I think it's not easy for honestly. I would love to speak about this topic, but I push myself back, because I know I'm not rich, so people will think, it's not easy for me to just come up, but
Yeah, because I mean, like when you speak about, because I remember Tom Bilyeu when he was speaking, he said that he was the person living the whole statement of money doesn't make you happy, and he has reached that level,
Yeah.
and then he realized that he's not happy. So if you're gonna tell people money doesn't make you happy, but
How
they
do
be
you know?
like,
What are you talking about? Where's your
Exactly.
money?
where's your money
yeah.
that does not
Yeah.
make you happy?
But what we can give example on it, I think, it's not like we don't have money. We've got money. We bought things that we can buy. But now the things that you bought, are they still making you happy?
Yes.
This phone, this device, I was
Is
so
it still
excited.
making you happy
No,
as you
I'm
should?
used to it. So
It doesn't make you happy
it
as it
doesn't,
used to a couple of
so
days ago.
everything, the camera, car, whatsoever that it may be, you're going to buy it, you're going to enjoy it, but you're going to get used to it. So it's the same principle when you've got millions or
You're
thousands
gonna
or
buy and
hundreds.
you're gonna get used to it.
Yeah,
and-
you're gonna get used to that car,
So the
that
whole
house. The
point
people that
is
who are
when-
rich, the people who have big houses and big cars, when we say to them, "Wow, we've got a nice car," it's like that's the only time that they get to be reminded that I've got a nice
Nice
car.
car.
Otherwise, they are used to it. That's
Yeah.
that's what money does at the end of the day, I think.
Yeah, so I guess it's a topic for another day.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, do we have any comments? Then we can move to the third topic, which is maintenance of goals.
I don't know. Steve Masitla says, "Can my goals be limited to the environment which I live in?" Yeah,
Well,
it's true. Yeah, they may be
Yeah.
because your environment
the
sets up.
environment does also play a huge role in how you perceive or see the world
Yeah.
too.
It
Especially
programs
if
you.
especially if you grow up in a certain village and you have never left the village.
Yeah.
But then you do get people who actually dream outside the village, but then at some point that it becomes limiting. Because what I've realized is that often you find a lot of people with so much potential, but then they don't really dream big
Yeah.
because of how they always see the people around them failing, and it kind of like discourages them to some point. So it does affect to some point, but then it doesn't mean that that's finite.
No, we can
You
work
get what I'm
around it.
saying?
We
Yeah.
can work around it because I think we can look at it in this way as well, that the things that you want to achieve, the goals that you want to achieve, it's easier to achieve them when you are within around people who already have achieved them or they are practicing it. So if I want to become this kind of a person or I want to achieve this kind of goals, I need to find a culture where those things are daily
Exists.
practiced.
Yeah.
It's a normal for them. So if I put myself in that environment, I will be like those people. If you hang around with winners, you will become a winner yourself.
Yeah.
So an environment that's there, and also it restricts.
And if you also hang around negative people, then you
Same
tend to
thing.
also be negative.
Same thing.
So that's why I'm saying it goes both ways.
Even if where you come from also affects how you look at your goals and how you look, because self-esteem is built through the first 8 years
Because
of who you are.
because you know one thing I've realized is that it's like as black people we have a lot of catching up to do, and seeing that most of us don't grow up in advantaged families, then you find that a lot of us think of success to be materialistic rather. So that it does affect you to some point, because then if I grew up in a disadvantaged environment and I tell myself, okay, I'm gonna work hard, get a degree, get a job, and then after getting a job, make sure I buy a car to show people that I've made it in life, because now we are playing all the catch-up game. Now we want to show materialistically that we have made it, instead of, and you find that it's actually a trend back at home. Like once you start working, whether that job is permanent, whether you're getting paid enough, you try by all means what the pincha, you buy that car because you want to show everyone that you've made it, because they've created traditions. I've seen that a lot back at home. They've created these traditions for once they start working, you just buy a car. Doesn't matter how much you make or how you're gonna suffer, but as long as you have a car to show people that you've made it. But then we aren't really taught about investments, something that's actually going to bring your money back even more, and like something that's going to benefit you. But rather, if you look at somebody buying a car, it's just a liability, it's gonna cause expenses. So
I don't know what to call it, but it's something else, you know,
Yeah.
and it's going to affect us. So, yeah, I think
More comments?
the environment that I settled in. Okay, yeah, I think we've answered.
I don't think the environment has to limit your goal. It's actually all in the mindset and how you perceive things. So go out there and explore.
Yeah, it's not true because remember the programming part you don't have control. The first 8 years of your life,
Of your
from 0
life.
to 8, this is why your self-esteem is built. Then you're going to go up with that, you're going to ingrain that system, that programming, up until you are, I don't know, 18, 19, and then you can realize that, you can question your belief and realize that
And
this
you-
was wrong.
yeah, once you reach a certain age where you are able to question,
Yeah.
because most of us grow up in families where they're just so negative.
Yeah.
Failing, no. You know, and then you start believing that at some point, but then it's up to you to make the decision of what I am not a failure. I'm not
Yeah.
going to believe in this.
Yeah.
So it makes it right. It's all in the mindset. Your failures and being limited.
Yeah.
It's because it's because of what you think. But then,
Yeah.
like you said, the first 8 years of your life is
Yeah.
where you build your self-esteem, where
Yeah.
you're being taught certain values and whatever.
Yeah.
Until you get a certain point where you start questioning everything, the belief systems, the values.
Mm.
What are your values? You know. Yeah.
And then later
And
on
what are
you
your
can-
goals? What you want to achieve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can always purify them. You can always reprogram your mind, and like it's all in the mind. That's when you can start reprogramming your mind. How to make sure that my goals are in line to those whom to those whom are around me.
Okay. Okay. I think what he's asking is that how does he know that the people he lives around? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
What you want to know is how do you know that the people that you spend your time with are aligned with your goals or are what you want to be? So for me, first of all, I would say that you first get your values in line, your values and your beliefs and what you want, and then you get your goals in line, what you want to achieve, where do you see yourself in the future? I mean, like, don't limit yourself. If you see yourself having a company, dream big as you can. I mean, like, there is no limit to how big you can dream. Just dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. So after getting those dreams and realizing maybe, let's say for example, maybe you want to be the best technicians in South Africa, or maybe you want to be the best teacher or the best, then you look for a certain group of people that are going to lead you to where you want to be. So in a way that you do check the people you spend most of your time with. What are they saying most of the time? What comes from their mouth? Is what they're saying to you building you to becoming a better person, or all they have to say is negative things? Because sometimes you spend a lot of time with negative people without even realizing. And we draw into that negativity and we end up believing that it becomes a part of us. That we grow up, that we actually wake up every morning believing that we can never pass because we live around people who always speak about failure as if it's a norm or it's something to be happy about. So you check the people that you spend most of your time with. What do they do on their daily basis? Do they wake up with an aim, direction of what they want to achieve, or are they just people who are sitting around and being lazy? Are the people a reflection of who you can see, like a good reflection or a reflection of who you can see yourself to be with in future, or they just temporary people in your life? Then from there you can do those evaluations. These people speak positively, they add value into my life, they always motivate me. Then it's people that you should keep in your circle. These people are negative. They never have anything good to say about any situation. They actually find problems for the solutions. And then that's where you realize, well, this is where I have to distance myself from such people. If you speak with people and after the conversation you're drained, those are not your people.
Yeah, not true. I couldn't have said it any better because it's all in there. It's all there. It's all in the conversation, in what they do, in what they like. You
They
just
say, yeah.
firstly, but I think it starts with you knowing yourself,
Knowing
self-awareness.
yourself, yeah.
When you know yourself, when you know what you want, when you know what you stand for, then you affirm those things. You will automatically see when someone is not reflecting with your
Reflecting,
things.
yeah, with
Yeah.
your values and what you believe in.
Yeah. Okay. I think
And it's always okay for you to walk away. I remember Les Brown, he said that the first time he heard the quote that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend most of your time with, he went back and checked all his friends and realized they were poor. He dropped all of his friends.
you're poor, you're like, where are you going and where is this person going?
Yeah, do you have any sense of direction? What are you hoping to achieve in future? Do your goals at least align with what I believe or what I want to achieve, maybe you also want to achieve greatness,
Yeah.
then we can chill. If you have no goal, you just wake up and you're just lazy, you have problems for solutions, then we leave you behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the other one. What's your take about short versus long-term goals, and what feature of goal settings are important if we want to ensure we are more likely to be successful and achieved?
Okay. You're gonna answer?
You can keep start off.
Okay, can I just check the question and then
Okay.
reread it? Valerie, what's your take on short versus long-term goals, and what features of goal settings are important if you want to ensure they are most likely to be successfully achieved? Well, I would say that my take on short and long-term goals, I would say that the short-term goals can be something that you can achieve within, maybe for me, I would say that within a year, 2 years is short-term goals. Then for me, long-term goals are like 5 years plus. Whereas other people can say their long-term goal is 10 years plus, I say that 5 years plus. Because I believe that a lot can change in 5 years and you can do a lot in 5 years. So my short-term goals can go up to like maybe what I want to achieve within the next 2 years to 3 years. And they can also count up to what I want to achieve within the next month.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I believe that they are all important. It isn't that short-term goals are much more important than long-term goals. The long-term goals help you look at the bigger picture ahead of you, and the short-term goals are what's going to help you sustain or keep up with that future goal. Meaning that it's like when you set your daily goals to help you achieve your monthly goals, and your monthly goals actually get to achieve your yearly goals, you know, like that. Like they all build up and they all should correlate and add up to your ultimate goals. But then again, you should realize that after 10 years, you're going to have new goals. They're going to keep on adding.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a system where
Yeah.
we continuously add on to
Yeah.
it.
So what I would say, okay, this is just a matter of taking your long-term goals, because I think there are so many challenges in between our long-term goals. You know, it's about taking them and taking it back from your 5-10 years to back to your 2 years to 1 year monthly daily, and then you can achieve them on a daily basis. But I think it's not easy to just set long-term goals, right? Because okay, to set a goal you need to have a plan. You know, a goal or a wish or that is not have that is not accompanied by action. It's just a wishful thinking. So a goal has to have a plan. So if you've got long-term goals, this means you need to have a plan, but do not have a fixed plan, because things change by time to time, because you're going to be disappointed. You need to be flexible. A lot is going to happen in between. So if I've got a goal that I want to achieve in 5 years, and this is my plan, I need to be flexible about my plan. My plan has to change according to the circumstances that arouse, you know. It has to change according to the things that happens around me. You know, I will need to adjust and still go. I need to adjust, still go.
You know, there's a question that if I set a goal for myself that I want to finish maybe my degree in 3 years, and then I finish it in 4, does that make it less of an achievement? And it doesn't. It doesn't. At the end of the day, you did achieve it. You were looking at a goal. So I guess what you were saying is that
adjusting.
Yeah, you have to adjust. And as much as you might encounter failure, because it is a given that on your road to success, at some point you will encounter failure. And what do you do about it? Then that's when you have to realize it's at your point where you're supposed to grow and evolve and become a better person. So if you fail, it's about learning from your mistakes and using those mistakes and rectifying them. Because again, if you fail, you don't actually start from scratch, you start from experience. So now you know that this and this happens when you do that, then what do you do further going forward?
Because there are things which are not upon us. I can plan to finish in 2 years, but that's not the universe wants for me. The universe might want me to be there for a longer period. Now, what do I do? Am I going to judge myself that no, I failed?
Yeah, failure just because I didn't finish my diploma in 3.
It was out of my control still. Yeah.
And I think we didn't finish answering the question. And what features of goal setting are very important to ensure that you're most likely. Like I said in the beginning of this live session, when it comes to goal setting, make sure that all the goals that you set are yours, not somebody else, not your friends, not your moms, not your little sisters, not your older brother or sister. They are your own goals and what you wish to achieve for yourself. Because sometimes you find that you end up achieving goals just because you want to make that person happy. or it's about somebody else, then at the end of the day you achieve it, but it doesn't make you happy. You're still that miserable person. So make sure that they are your goals.
Yeah.
And make sure that whatever goal you set for yourself has value and meaning to your life. Why? Ask yourself, why do you want to achieve this goal within this time range? Why? Like your sense of why. You have to have a strong sense of why with your goals, because if you have that strong value attached to your goals, then you have something that is going to drive you even when things get difficult, but you know you're looking at that picture and you understand this is what it means for you as an individual. And then from there, obviously, like you said, you need to have a plan of action. How are you going to achieve it? How long is it going to take you? So basically, when you set your goals, you must also be realistic. So you must be realistic. You must be specific about what goal you want to achieve. First of all, be specific. Say that you want to achieve this amount of, maybe example, if maybe you want to achieve something in school. I want to get 60%. Let's say I was a person who was failing completely and I say, I want to get 60% for mathematics. That's a goal, right? But then it's not complete. You can't just say, I want to get 60%. It must go to, is it realistic? Checking at your previous performance, do you think it is within an achievable range? Because you can go from 40 to 60, completely doable. But then you must also check, like, you don't set goals that are too high that when you don't reach it, you become completely discouraged. But then allow yourself to improve, because you can go from that 60 to a 65 to a 70. Next time you go to an 80. That's how you improve. And setting that, it must also be something, you must continuously measure your goals. You can't just set goals and then put your notebook under the bed or wherever you wrote the book, hide it behind the cupboard or the wardrobe or wherever you put it, because you have to constantly see the goals. They have to be in sight. You have to continuously remind yourself every morning, this is what I'm aiming for. I want a 60% in mathematics or an 80% in mathematics. It must be something that you always see. It must be visible. And with every task that you do, measure your progress. Like, continuously measure your progress to see, am I making progress? Am I getting better marks? Maybe you moved from a 40, now you got 50. You did better. You didn't reach 60, but you did 50. The next time you aim for better, 55. 60, that's how you get to improve. And
when
also
you measure goals.
Exactly. And also set a time limit to your goals. Like, I can't say I want to achieve this and maybe tell myself that I want to achieve my degree in 3 years. Nah. And then, like, that's me. Like, if I say I want to achieve my degree, I can achieve it in 6 years. I can achieve it in any amount of time. But then if I tell myself I want to achieve it, then it kind of like pushes you to work hard. Because if I set a goal that I want to maybe go to the gym and get this type of body, what, and then I don't tell myself after how long, then like I'm just going to be lazy throughout the year and then start exercising late and expect instant results. And you don't get instant results. It's something that you work over time. Like, it doesn't happen instantly.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, I think we can move to the, because we're gonna spend all day on this topic. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think one more last thing that I can say about habits. It's that make sure that you set a time and a place on when you're going to do that.
Yeah.
It's called implementational intent. So
Yeah,
we are being
that's
intentional, you know.
Yeah.
So if I say I'm going to go to the gym, I need to put the place and time. I need to time and location. So I'm going to go to the gym when I can, as soon as I come back from school to work at 7 p.m. at this kind of, or wherever the gym is at. I'm going to study in my room, in my study room tonight at 9 p.m. I'm going to, when you said this, so this is more like I promise a friend. I promise a friend to come see by, and I will say I'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. I'm most likely to show up because I've made a commitment to that person, right?
Yeah.
Versus, I'm going to see you. I'll let
you know.
I won't show up. You know,
Yeah.
so that's the same thing. We are doing that thing to us. We are doing that commitment to us that I'm going to do this at that point of time. Then I'm most likely to do that because I've made that.
Rather than just doing something when you feel like it,
Yeah.
you actually set yourself, all right, I'm going to do this in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this in the evening.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. So moving to the third point, which is maintenance of goals.
Maintenance. Okay, so maintenance is I think that maintenance is rarely spoken about because most people just talk about starting. You just need to start. It's all in the starting, which is important. But starting is as important as maintaining because what's the point of starting something and then you cannot go ahead with it? How many people do we know, or how many times have we started,
doing something and then
going
stop.
to the gym, buying gym clothes, sign up membership, and
Every
just
week,
go,
you go the first 2 weeks.
and then you go to the first 2 weeks and then you're like, I'm not like that person who I saw on Instagram. So we are comparing our 2 weeks experience with 10 years experience of someone because this boy is going to the gym for the longest time ever, and then you start to no, I'm not going anymore. So I think this comes down to understanding that after creating your habits and all those kind of things, then
You have to maintain
I've
it.
got to maintain that, and this means that we need to be realistic as well, because if I'm starting something for the first time, if I'm going to do something for the first time, if I'm going to create new habits, this means
The maintenance might be more difficult.
because I'm leaving my comfort zone. Now I'm in my discomfort zone. I'm operating from a place of discomfort, So I'm not going to be perfect the first time. I'm going to slip back to my old habits. And the key, it's not to sit and complain and say, okay, no, but it's to go back to your new habits as soon as you see that you have slipped back. If I've created the habits of having a good diet, this means as soon as I see myself eating chocolates or wara, I don't have to say, okay, no, no, I need to go back to my, So it's all about going back because now what?
Because you can slip up once, never slip up twice.
Of which James Clear has a rule: never miss twice. Missing once, it's an incident, it's a mistake. But missing twice, it's the starting of a habit, not to do those things that you said you want to do. So never miss twice. Only make it once, and then as soon as you've made it once, go back. Because now what is happening in this instance is that when we are in our uncomfortable zone, it's like, take it like a rubber band. I wish I had a rubber band. Take it like a rubber band. A rubber band is more effective when it's stretchy. So that's the same with us. We are more effective when we are stretching ourselves. We are more effective when we are stretching ourselves. Just as with a rubber band, you stretch it, then it's more effective. So the key is to hold on to that state up until it breaks. When it breaks, it means you have left your comfort zone. Now you are in your new zone, a new zone with this new habit. You are going to get used to that, because the more you do those things, it's our body, our intelligence, you are teaching your body how to do those things. So when you are in that state, then I think you are winning. And also, there's this little voice this is still under maintenance. There's this little voice that always comes to you whenever you try to do things. So the key is to keep maintaining your standard. You've got to beat. You've got to beat that little voice inside you. That little voice always when you tell, no, don't. So this is what happens.
I really need to. Like, what's school?
To convince you. You've already. Okay, this is what happened to me this morning. So I went to do a 10 kilometers run. I do this every Saturday. So I woke up. Late actually today. It was hot. I went out. It was around 7:45. I went out, and then that little voice came. You know what? It's hard. You don't have to. You're going to do a 2 hours run. So do you have to? Come on. You'll do this later on Monday. Okay, fine. I listened to that voice gently, but you know what? I went anyway. And then that voice was with me throughout the gym. Okay, fine. Maybe just do 5. Just do 5. Just do 5. No, I pushed myself to do 10, and then as soon as I came back, I had to do some cardios. He said, no, you don't have to do cardios right now. You are tired, you've already pushed yourself, just take a bath. I did those cardios, and then I went to the bath. I do cold showers. I did just before the cold shower, I was literally looking at that water flowing down. No, you've already done. You've already conquered this thing. I went into the cold shower, and it's like you don't have to do. Just do 2 minutes. It's fine for today. That voice is there. But for us, the key is to see a way on. The key is to literally conquer that voice, little voice in us every day. Conquer it, because a lot of people would say to
Because I want to relate this to like an example of gardening. Like when you first have your garden, it has beautiful flowers and whatnot. And then what happens is that after it rains, after a few weeks, the weeds start growing. And then it covers the flowers. So basically, when you maintain your goals, is you taking out the weeds every week or every day, but just make sure that you're consistent with what you do, so that the weeds don't grow and overpower the flowers. In order for the flowers to continue, which means the flowers are your new and your good habits, you have to take away the bad ones.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you stop taking care of that garden, then the weeds will grow. Then you lost it, right?
Yeah.
And this comes through consistency. That people would say, most of the time would say, our mind is holding us back. That little voice is holding us back. That no, your mind is not holding you back. It's you continuing to that voice. It's you listening to that voice. It's you obeying to that voice. Yeah, it's going to be there, but it's
I
upon
always
you.
say every morning I wake up, it's like, do you really this a date? We're not acting that too much. Like like that.
Yeah, it's true because you can choose to ignore that you have to wake up. You can choose to ignore that little voice. You can choose to conquer that voice and not listen to it. Because here's the thing, you don't need to believe in yourself for you to take action. You can just take action because your mind is always going to play tricks with you. I don't have to do. But if you conquer, if you keep pushing, if you do, here's one of the reasons why we do cold showers, right? A lot of people are so scared about cold showers. I know.
Give me zero.
Yeah, you're not writing this assignment. I know. So, but here's one of, there are so many reasons and benefits why we do cold showers. But one of the reasons why we do cold showers is to shatter this little voice that is inside us. Because the moment you're about to head into a cold shower, that voice will come and speak. But when you intentionally go into the cold shower for that duration, what you are doing, because you will do cold shower most effective in the morning. Because if I manage to conquer that little voice in me, this means anything that comes through my day, that voice is already weak. I'm most likely going to conquer anything that I do.
First step, because usually in the morning it's called cold shower. Yeah,
cold shower, because how we do one thing, it's how we do everything. So if for example, if I'm afraid to do this kind of thing, I'm most probably going to be afraid to do other things. So if I go into that cold shower and conquer that cold shower and conquer that small voice, then I'm most likely to conquer anything that is going to come my way. So that's what the cold shower is doing. So it's a game of pitching that small voice that is inside of you, that voice that is holding, that we think is holding us back, but instead it's us listening to it that is holding us back. So I think it's that also. It's consistency. Consistency is key. Consistency is success. I think anything that we want to achieve in long-term goals, the answer is through consistency. But consistency matters most when we don't feel like showing up. Consistency, it's the ability to show up to something when you are less passionate about it, when you don't feel like doing it, because we are people of emotions.
Because you won't always feel like studying, you won't always feel like jogging, you won't always feel like gym, you won't always feel like work.
There are days where your small voice or emotions will tell you, no, don't do it today. But we don't have to listen to that, because we are merely going to get things done in life if we are going to show up or do things only when we feel like doing them. So consistency compounds. If I'm doing this thing every day, then it means it's going to compound. If I'm putting 100 rand in the bank for every week, it compounds. If I'm creating these habits and I do this it compounds. So, and for
because doing 1% improvements is actually better than decrementing 31%.
Exactly. And I mean, there are days where consistency is difficult, like days when you come back from work or school or wherever. Then you are so tired, you don't even feel like going to the gym. So the key is not to, if you're the kind of a person who goes to the gym for 2 hours or 1 hour, the key is not to say I'm not going to the gym. Go to the gym for 20 minutes. Study for 15 minutes,
It's better than doing zero.
It's better than doing zero, because now what we are doing through that process is we are creating a new identity. We are building a new identity that I'm the kind of a person who shows up to the gym every day. I'm the kind of a person who reads every day. Then this is how I'm going to look at myself. This is how I'm going to have a new personality of myself. So that's why we need to keep it going. Even the biggest enemy within ourselves is that voice which will tell you, or those emotions that say, no, today you are tired, you don't have to do this. That's the biggest challenge in
just
consistency.
sleep 15 minutes.
Find a way to work around it.
Because at the end of the day, your mind is there to protect you, so it wants to get through life with minimal effort. That's what I always say, like minimal effort. It doesn't want you to do anything, then you must always be able to conquer and overcome that voice.
Yeah, our minds default to negative. They always play tricks with us. They always tell this, but we don't have to listen to our minds. We don't have to listen to.
I want to. There's this other comment from that lady when she said, when she says, when she says that I don't think the environment has to limit your goal. I have to agree, yes, the environment doesn't have to limit your goal, but your environment does play a certain role in it. And this comes from a live session. I mean, I just recently watched Impact Theory, and I just forgot who was speaking, but then he's a very wise man. So what he said is that, he said that when you're a person and you grow up in an environment where it is like you're poor, basically, you can't afford, you can't do, then there is something in you that pushes you forward to success. So you're going to work 2 times harder, you're going to push twice as harder in order for you to make it. And then he said that if you grow up in a family where everything is easily given to you, like people who grow up in rich families, most of the time they seem to be laid back because everything has been given to them. So you see how certain events do affect. Maybe it's like, maybe we failed to articulate the point clearly, hence she misunderstood the point. Yes, it's possible for you to set up your mind, have a positive mindset, and rise above the environment and achieve your goals. But then the point was that the environment does play a role in shaping how we think. It does play a role in shaping how we think. And it's up to each and every individual to also work on themselves to improve how we think. Like, that's where you come to questioning, why do we do this at home? Why do we have to pray before we eat? Why this? Why that? And then from learning those, then you get to see which values are for you and which values don't mean much to you. Then you start developing your own values, what means a lot to you, and why. And instead of, because sometimes you can grow up in a family that tells you you become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or an accountant. If you don't become those, you're a failure. In a way, it affects how you think, right? You think, if I don't achieve that, you become a failure. But you get certain individuals who can actually think above that and say, no, it doesn't mean that but it becomes difficult. You get what I'm saying? So in some way, it becomes a tricky situation, but then you can rise above the environment that you grew up in. But it does play a role in shaping how you think at some point. But then once you grow up to be a person, your own person, then you get to question why do you do certain things, and you get to develop new habits, and surround yourself with positive people. Surround yourself with people that you wish to be like. So in that way, then you become ultimately the person that you wish to be. Yeah. So I hope we kind of...
I think you clarified it right now.
Oh yeah, and then there's more comments. All right. Okay, you just answered my question about failure. Oh, sense of why it takes a cup, well answered. Okay, sure. And this is eye-opening session. I'm enjoying it. Thank you. And this is an very well formed indeed.
Okay. No, I think we've said a mouthful. We've been talking for the long time. I don't know. You still have more points on?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't have any more points.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's it for today. I think we can wrap it up here.
So guys, this brings us to the end of this fantastic episode on how to bridge setting your goals and actually achieving them.
Yeah. Now, thank you so much guys for showing up. Let's meet again in our next live session. Cheers.